Hello everyone, and welcome back to this presentation of the Sportsman series as part of the PRA Stock series here on the PRA network. I'll be your host for tonight, 81, the voice of the Sportsman series, as we take our trip in week 3 here to beautiful New York countryside of Watkins, Glen International. We're running the short variation of the course tonight, without the GP layout, as we are currently here in the Ford's qualifying lobby. They have yet to start the qualifying. Great start on my end. So after we had a very strong past few weeks, especially last week at the Sardinia road course, we come back here tonight to see how all the drivers can follow up on the race from last week. So as we take a look at the results from last week and to see what we're looking at this week. So last week the results were Rum Runner in the Chevy winning the race after a very strong and consistent performance. He'll be in the other qualifying lobby tonight, with Buzz and Bile, another Chevy, in second as part of D-Boy Racing. Rum Runner, a free agent, still yet to be picked up, I believe, as not many roster changes have happened just yet. But a lot of Fords taking over that finishing result from last week. As we sit here today with our qualifying sessions, we'll work the same as last week for the road courses. So how this will work, there are 2 different qualifying lobbies, one with the Fords you see here, and the other lobby has the Toyota drivers and the Chevy drivers. So how this will work is, out of each manufacturer, the top 4 drivers from each manufacturer for qualifying lap time will make it to the main event. So that will be 12 drivers in, 4 from Ford, 4 from Chevy, and 4 from Toyota, with the last 2 spots being claimed by the next 2 fastest drivers, regardless of manufacturer. Lap times to look out here for the Sportsman cars will be in the 1:18, 1:17 range would be your top times. As currently in this practice session, Perry has the fastest time with 1:17.047. It was a very strong time for Perry, looking to potentially make it into the main race and even have an impact there, possibly fighting for a win himself. As we're now on board with Vanilla Bear, looking to see what time he could put up here. Unfortunately, this won't count, since this is still just practice before it, but he puts down a 1:16.9, so a very strong showing for him as well. I was thinking we were going to be in 1:17s mainly. I didn't think we were going to break 1:16s, but here we are, as Vanilla Bear shows a strong time here. Again, reminder, this lobby we're in is still currently practice. We'll actually go check in on the Chevy and Toyota lobby. We will head over there to see if their qualifying has started yet, and give a better idea of all of the drivers here racing tonight. As these guys have begun their qualifying session, 2 minutes in out of the 8-minute timer these guys get for qualifying in the Sportsman series and all series across the PRA Stock series. So as we're here, these guys just get their first laps around them, so no times really being posted yet. But let's check in on the drivers here. So we're gonna hop on board with Rum Runner, the winner of last week's race at Sardinia. A free agent driver looking for a pickup possibly from someone. Looking also to finish strong or continue the momentum from last week, as he will set the first fastest lap of the race with 17.2. We will take a stroll through the field just to get a gauge of who we're working with tonight. So as I mentioned, 4 Chevys will make it, 4 Toyotas will make it. So in this lobby, just because you're in the top 4 or in the top 8 doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed in. There'll be the top 4 from each manufacturer. So we're on board here with Rum Runner in the Chevy, Wired in the Toyota, Buzz and Bile in a Chevy, Hufu in the Chevy as well, Racer Chick in the Toyota, Outlaw in the Chevy, Yurt in a Chevy, Crazy Alt in the Toyota, Root Metal in the Toyota, and SFD in a Ford. As what to look out for here at the Watkins Glen International Circuit. The curbs, taking advantage of the curbs is going to be a key part of the lap times, as for the rule, for the most part, as long as you have 2 tires on the curbs, you're good to go. Not going to get a penalty from Gran Turismo or from us. So extending the track limits just a little bit to your favor without breaking them. This is one of those tracks where that would be very key to build up speed and the best racing lines, as Rum Runner holds first place still here in this Chevy and Toyota qualifying lobby. It's going to take a little bit off for this lap, give himself some more space for the next lap, being stuck behind traffic. Tune in to second place now with Hufu, who is just less than a tenth behind Run Runner's time. Run Runner with a 1:17.222. Hufu with a 1:17.256. And Buzz and Bile not too far behind either, the 1:17.299. All these drivers within 2/10 of each other in the top 3, so a very heated contested battle with the top 3 Chevys. As we round about halfway through this qualifying lobby for the Fords and the Chevys, as Wired actually jumps up to the very top with a 1:17.152 with that Toyota car. Wired not off to his quickest start in PRA history this season, as Wired is currently sitting in a tie for 13th place. Not a strong first 2 showings for Wired, a guy who, as well as being part of our leadership team at PRA, been around for a while, very strong showings, a very fast driver. But so far in this stock series with the Sportsman cars, struggling a little bit with the first 2 races. Here in race number 3 though, halfway through this qualifying session, he's sitting on top with the Toyotas and the Chevys. And he's not looking to slow down as he sets a purple second sector, looking to get around or work with Buzz and Bile here on this final turn. He's going to run it wide just a little bit into the wall, hits Buzz and Bile. He's not able to extend his time, unfortunately for him. Rum Runner runs wide as well, though, as Wired's going to head in for some fresh, soft tires. Might as well get the freshest tires you possibly can for this final run, as Rum Runner still holds second, Hufu in third. A lot of guys with penalties here. As I mentioned, this track is very hard to get the track limits right, even if these curbs are very wide and forgiving. Some of these turns, it's almost too tempting, and you try to floor it full way through the corner, and it just doesn't work for you. You can't get the car turned in time, or just lose it on the curbs themselves. As we have the side-by-side here with Yurt and Racer Chick. Yurt's probably going to have to let by, as Racer Chick has the better line here. Again, don't want to be racing too hard here in the qualifying session. But Racer Chick sitting in 6th place, fairly comfortably here for the Toyotas, as the top 5 are dominated by Chevys other than Wired. Actually, I correct myself. Root Metal got himself up there as well. in the Camry, free agent number 63, Mac Tools car for Root Metal. Buzzin' Bile in 4th, Fufu in 3rd, Rum Runner in 2nd, and Wired still holding on to pole here for this first qualifying session with the Toyotas and Chevys. 2 minutes to go here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway for our Week 3 qualifying session here at the Sportsman Series. 3rd week here of the inaugural season of the PRA Stock Series. Everyone who watched the video from last week or any of the races leading up to this point in all 3 series, the Sportsman Series, Challenger Series, and Elite Series, welcome in everyone. And I hope you stay around for some intense and awesome racing with some of the most quality drivers here in the Prodigy Racing Association. As we have Wired still holding onto the pole. In this current lobby, here's who will be making it through right now. As I talked about, the manufacturers are what determines the qualifying as well as your fastest times. As I will hold my thought as Wired here is another purple sector heading into the final turn here. Let's see if he gets it right this time. Runs a little wide into the wall again, unfortunately for Wired. Trying to stretch out that purple time into the 1:16s possibly, but just not able to hit the final turn just right. That turn 11 is a very tricky right-hander. A lot of these turns, as I said here, at this 11th corner, short variation of Watkins Glen, are very deceptive, as you might either be able to run faster through the corner than you thought, taking up a lot of the curb in the process, but also sometimes overshooting your curb as well. And running on these curbs is very risky, as it's the best way to stretch out the speed of your car with the best exit angles and best speed on the straights. Keep your lap times. However, it is a risk running on those curbs, as you might lose the back end of your car. Getting loose on those curbs is not the most stable driving surface. As we are here at the final lap of this qualifying session, Lava More required. Try it one more time for the purple sector through turn 10 and around to turn 11. Let's see if he can get it right this time. His 3rd time the charm for Wired, finding his braking point. He does hit it. Let's see if this will extend his fastest lap for the qualifying session here, as it will fall just short, less than a 10th, but he should still comfortably hold in the pole position, as Rum Runner, after his very impressive performance last week at the Sardinia Road Circuit, is looking to extend the momentum here, as he's going to improve on his time, but still just fall short of Wired, as he's going to be 2nd here in this lobby, but easily through. Buzzin' Bile is the one who steals the pole with a massive improvement on those two, with a 1:16.890. One run from Buzzin' Bile at the buzzer for the final lap here of the qualifying session. Let's see if anyone gets it through. Hufu's going to hold 4th, Root Metal in 6th, Racer Chick in 6th, as the rest of the lineup finishes qualifying. So you see there on your screen, Buzzin' Bile, Wired, Rum Runner, and Hufu are the top 4. All 4 being Chevys. So those 4 guys, the top 4 Chevys being the top 4 in this lobby, all 4 of them are guaranteed through to the main race with... apologies, Wired's in the Toyota. Let me get that right. So Buzzin' Bile is through, Rum Runner is through, Hufu is through, and I believe Outlaw would be through. Those are your 4 Chevys, with the Toyotas being Wired, Root Metal, Racer Chick, and maybe Crazy Alt. We will see our final results later on after our 2nd qualifying lobby is through, and we have our official starting lineup for the main event. As now we will hop back over to the session with the Fords. 7 Fords trying to qualify for 4 spots. As we load into the second qualifying lobby, we'll give you a brief rundown and refresher of the point standings here in the Sportsman series. As we come into this lobby, 8 out of the 10 minutes through qualifying with 2 minutes left. Shaggy actually holds the top spot for the Fords currently with 119.5, but that will swiftly change with Phil taking the top spot. Actually, I'm gonna stand corrected, as loading in these lobbies late, sometimes it's a little buggy. Yeah, as we're getting official updated lap times through now. But again, as you see the drivers here for the Fords, it's Phil, Vanilla Bear, Nitro, Shaggy, JP Chips, and Jay Philla. These 7 drivers are looking to try to make the main race with 4 spots available for the Fords and then 2 wildcard spots if they're not able to get into that top 4. Those 2 final wildcard spots are determined by all the drivers who did not qualify based on top 4 in the manufacturer. All drivers that are remaining, the top 2 fastest times of the remaining drivers will also get in. As if our timer screen is correct here, Perry will hold the current pole with a 1:17.4. Phil taking it back with 1:17.3. The Canadians with a strong showing here in the Ford lobby. As we do scroll through the rest of the pack, as it does look accurate at 1:17.3. It's around the time they're running right now. But we do check in Jay Philla, currently running a purple first sector into the bus stop chicane here at the Watkins Glen circuit, through around the long sweeping right-hander of turn 9. This turn also very rough on the tires, as I'm not sure if we're going to see that impacted tonight. Though you might see some drivers take a different compound, whether it be a hard tire or a soft tire, trying just to fight through for all 20 laps here in the main event. As we see Jay Phillip round turn 11 onto the front straight here at Watkins Glen. We're going to see if he can improve on the 1:17.3 of Phil, and he does not, but he does improve his own time to 1:17.5. As this is the final lap now, that was it for Jay Philla. Phil trying to make his way around to the front straight, trying to extend his own time. Does with a 1:16.9. Does Nitro improve on his time? He does, jumping Jay Philla for that 3rd spot. Vanilla Bear now coming across the line with a penalty in tow. Not going to be enough, as everyone else has now crossed the line. As it currently stands, it will be Phil, Nitro, Jay Philla, and Perry, I believe. Scratch that, as we get the updated times over here in the official accurate times. It is Phil in 1st, Perry in 2nd, Vanilla Bear in 3rd, Nitro in 4th, with a Jay Philla just barely missing out on that top 4 for the Fords, as he is 1/10 off of Nitro. I say 1/10, less than a 10th, only about 3 or 4 hundredths off of Nitro's time. Hopefully Jay Philla's hoping that'll be enough to get him into one of those 2 wildcard spots, however. As our wonderful race official for tonight, JSM Turismo, will be putting together the starting lineup, and I will be getting that to everyone here as soon as I have it available. If you are just joining us now, we are waiting here patiently after the qualifying sessions have now been completed here as we get our starting lineup sorted out for our Week 3 race here at Watkins, Glen as part of the Sportsman series here on the PRA network. This inaugural season of the Stock Car Series has been going very splendidly, I would say, as very enjoyable first 2 races of the season, first 2 weeks, I should say, across all 3 series. As if you are not familiar, tonight is our Sportsman series, which is our first race of the week. First race of 3, with tomorrow night at the same time, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Western, 5 Western, and 6 Mountain Time. I believe I got that right. But that will be the time for every race each day of the week. Tuesday is, as I mentioned before, is where you are right now, the Sportsman Series. Wednesday nights are the Challenger Series, and Thursday night is the Elite Series. Be sure to check out all of those races whenever you can or get the chance. And be sure to catch them live as they will be streaming here live on the PRA Network YouTube channel. As we now do get sorted out for the main event. Trying to get this one sorted out. I've just been informed the starting lineup should be completed soon, so as we still patiently wait for that, we will sit here and give a little breakdown for what this race tonight could look like. So, appears to be 15 laps here tonight. Yes, that is correct. 15 laps. I got it wrong. I thought it was 20. It is 15 laps here at Watkins Glen in the Sportsman Series cars. So, no pit stops should be expected for today's race. Should be a clean run from tire perspective and fuel perspective. The tires may be a little bit of a struggle if you run the soft tire, but I don't think it's enough to justify a whole pit stop for it, and the tire wear should not be drastic enough to call for a hard tire, though you may see some people make that jump, but we will see what they decide to do as different pit strategies may come into play, especially if there is a caution. But here for now, I wouldn't expect that to be the case. New to PRA with the stock series will be our green flag caution or green flag pit rule. So under caution, the pit road will be closed, meaning all pit stops will have to be under green. However, as I mentioned with the Sportsman series, should not come into play too much tonight, as these cars should make the 15 laps pretty comfortably. If we take a look at tonight's race from a team perspective, as a reminder with the stock series, not only are there 3 different manufacturers, but there are 8 current teams on the grid as well, each owned by a driver, and fielding up to 6 other drivers in the team, though some with more, some with less, and each team having different drivers distributed over different series, and with each series also having a plenty full of free agent drivers, especially here with the Sportsman series, as a majority of the drivers in the Sportsman will be free agents. However, with the drivers that are on teams, with our qualifying tonight, it appears that no one will have a teammate available in this race, as each driver here, either they're the only driver for their team in the Sportsman series, their teammate cannot make it tonight, or by the looks of it, some people had multiple teammates here, but one or both did not make the final cut, as we will see our official starting order here soon, as we still wait on the word from Turismo. Apologies for the kind of delay here. Again, just making sure we have everything right with the officiating crew. Turismo doing a wonderful job, and King Saturn also helping host the lobby as well. Both of them doing a great job getting the feet under them as we prepare for the main event. 15 laps. Once we get going, it will be very exciting. That is, when we do get going. So while we wait as well, we could go over some of the main championship implications here in this entire stock series after week 2. So if you weren't able to watch all the races, again, please do. All of the races last week were very exciting to watch, and the championship implications coming into this week are such for the championship standing here in the Sportsman series after the second week, first week being at the Daytona Oval, with the second week being at the Sardinia Road Course. The points leader is John of Lost Luck Racing. However, I don't think he made the race tonight, unfortunately. So, 2 weeks in a row where we have the points leader from the previous week not available for the race. So, yet again, that pole position for the driver's seat of the championship standings will be thrown wide open once again. As I don't believe this will be our... Yeah, there we go. We got the reset going. But second place is Root Metal, the free agent from Toyota. He also did a magnificent job in this qualifying session. He's going to be sitting in the qualifying order for tonight, sitting in second for the championship standings. And in third for championship standings is Yurt from D-Boy Racing, the franchise owner in the Chevy. However, I don't believe he made I don't believe he made the top cut tonight, but we will see from the final standings here shortly, as that top 3 does present a Ford, a Toyota, and a Chevy. So, pretty interesting disparity here in the Challenger, or the Sportsman Series championship order. As well, welcome to the booth here, the owner of PRA, founder, B-Dog. How is it going, B-Dog?
What's it going, man?
Not too much. I'm very glad to have you here as a new face to talk to here in the booth tonight. Great season going on so far. You have any thoughts?
Yeah, man, we've been having a really good season. It's been awesome to see the turnout. I mean, we have 59 drivers registered for this week out of, I think we got 42 spots, so 17 drivers won't get to race. And that's a full lobby right there, over a full lobby of drivers that just won't get to race. But they show up every single week. You know, we don't see the same guys DNQing every week. It's different guys every week DNQing. You know, some people, they don't like not to race, and so they sit there and they put in the time and the effort and they practice and they make the show next week. So I mean, it's really taken off. It's really taken off. I've been having a bunch of people message me this week trying to get in. Our Elite Series video took off 400 something views. Everybody just wants to get involved in this stock series, you know. We got 23 drivers signed up for 14 spots in the Challenger Series tomorrow night alone.
That's definitely something
crazy.
to watch. Yeah.
I'm racing in that, and I'm over here texting Pocono, which is the franchise owner for the team I'm on. I'm like, man, what strategy are we going to run? And I'm sitting here, hold on, let's not talk about strategy. Let's just focus on getting into the race. You know, it's going to be crazy. But have you looked at the starting lineup yet? I think I sent it on over to you.
For this final race, I do not have it myself just yet.
Check the
I see it now. Yeah. All right, everyone. So
let's go over that for a second. I feel like a person you need to watch for me is going to be Perry. I feel like Perry's going to have a really strong car. I don't know, something just telling me to watch out for Perry. Racer chick, brand new to the league, but not brand new to PRA. She's raced in Wreckfest a lot. Very strong competitor. She's making her debut in GT7 tonight. She qualified 11th. I'm going to be interested to see how she performs.
Indeed, as we will take a brief breakdown of the starting lineup as we get everyone situated into the lobby. So, our pole sitter tonight will be Buzzin' Bile in the number 25 Chevy with a 1:16.8, as we saw him put down earlier at the end of the Chevy-Toyota joint qualifying. That was a very impressive lap to me, as I wasn't sure we were going to see a sub 117 in either lobby tonight, but he just goes and puts down a 1:16.8. So that's a blazing lap for him. Second place, joining him on the front row, will be Phil in the Ford, number 26, the 1:16.954. As I was stand corrected as well briefly earlier, we do have a team partnership tonight with Phil and Nitro both making the final cut for the race tonight as part of Rings of Saturn, owned by King Saturn, with his teammate Nitro qualifying in 8th, as we'll discuss further down the order. Third place, starting behind Buzzin' Bile on row 2, is the driver B-Dog called out, that being Perry, in his Ford as well, with a 1:17.0. Strong time for him as well. And joining him finally on that second row is Wired. As we mentioned before, rough start to the season for him, but looking to turn it around now as this Sportsman Series championship standings is still wide open for really anyone to take. He's going to sit here on the second row in 4th place with a 1:17.152.
You know, I'm looking at these Fords, man. There's some unknowns in that Ford camp, if you ask me. I mean, just looking at them, and who's going to be that guy that's going to be like that staple for the Fords? I mean, you got Phil, he won Daytona, but then you got John and JP, neither one of them made the cut tonight. I think John didn't register in time and Chip stated he didn't qualify. You're looking at Nitro finished third last week and Perry finished fifth. I mean, who's going to be that staple guy for Ford that's going to say, hey, I'm here and we're going to race, and Ford's going to be a name to reckon with? I mean, Phil has a win, but it's at an oval. I don't want to discredit that because you got to drive on those things. But when it looks, we're fishing from a small sample size, and you look at last week, only 3 Toyotas even qualified last week. You know, so we had Root, Wired, and SFD PB. That's a mouthful. And Root finished fourth, and Wired finished seventh after he got an unfortunate end of the stick on, I think it was lap 1. So, I mean, I look at Ford, who's going to step up for Ford, but who's going to step up for Toyota? I mean, Chevy has a win, Ford has a win, and the highest Toyota's finished all year is 4th. And then the second highest they finished is 7th. I don't know, AY. What do you think, man?
The Toyota camp here in the Sportsman series is having a little bit of a rough run. Mind me asking for that statistics, that's just for the Sportsman? Or is that...
That's just for the Sportsman.
Gotcha.
And you know what's funny is when you change series, it seems like it's just flipped up on its head. Because Toyota's been really strong in the Challenger Series. Really strong guys out of the Levante and Hyper. They've been really, especially Levante, he's your points leader in the Challenger Series, so he's been running really strong. And then you look over in the Elite Series, it's really been anybody's game. I mean, there's not really anybody that just stands out, or really anybody that struggles too much, you know. But when you come over here and you look in the Sportsman Series, I mean, at Daytona, okay, a drafting track, the highest finisher at Daytona was Root Metal in 8th. So I don't know what needs to happen with that Toyota camp. I mean, Wired looking really, really, really strong tonight. I think this might be the turnaround that the Toyotas need in the Sportsman Series.
I do agree with you there, as Wired, I think, might just be the person to watch tonight. As you mentioned, with a Chevy win, a Ford win, the Toyota camp looking to get their first win here in the 3rd week, looking to make it 1 for 1 for 1, and Wired's in a shot to do that. As I mentioned before, Wired with a bit of a slump the first 2 weeks, but really looking hot here at this Watkins Glen circuit, starting in the 2nd row, looking to take a shot at that win here tonight.
We got 19 guys watching tonight. I think I saw it peaked at 22. I mean, the excitement's out here in the community for this series, guys. I mean, if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button and support PRA, as well as hit that like button and let us know that you're enjoying the stream. I mean, you guys, the drivers, the fans that watch, make this series what it is. You know, if it wasn't for the drivers, there would not be a live stream. There would not be fans. People wouldn't want to race. I mean, but they know that on a Tuesday night they're going to come in here and they're going to race in front of 19, 20 something people. So, wow, does this actually work?
It does work. We tested it last week with Redline.
Oh, wow, so you can share your screen while you're live streaming.
Yep. So, B-Dog's going to be joining us here for some color commentary tonight, as he already has been doing. You're not going to run away now that I got you here in the booth.
You know, I don't know how long I can promise, but until I can't promise anymore. So, it looks like we're getting everybody loaded up in here. Just looking at those liveries, man, I got to just give a quick shout out to our design team, Pocono 29, Smoke 14, and Luke Man 96 for designing these awesome liveries. I mean, they just look so good on the track, like a Nitro's car, that 06, man. These liveries just... they take time, you know, they're not just made overnight, and I mean, it shows. These things are absolutely beautiful. One thing I do want to point out, if we can find Racer Chick, I think she's on the track somewhere, there. Alright, racer chick. If you see on her bumper, she has a red stripe. Alright, so it's similar to the bright green stripes that you'll see on the free agents. Well, those are unrestricted free agents. That means they are free agents before the beginning of the year starts. Well, the red stripes means that she is a restricted free agent and she can race, but she cannot join a team until after the season is over because she joined mid-season. Now, there's been a lot of people wanting to join in this series, but one thing that I tell everybody is, hey, this series is open right now to PRA only drivers. So if you were in PRA before this was a thing, you can join in mid-season. We've had a lot of guys from the outside that want to come in. I say, hey, look, there's a lot of demand for this series. Normally I would never say no, but I gotta make room for the people that's been with us here for a minute. Stick around. Alright, as soon as this season ends, this is our test season. It's only going to be 5 weeks, so tonight we'll be over halfway through it. Just stick around and we'll get you in next season. So that's just some clarity there. So if you see somebody with a red bumper stripe, it's because not because they're a bad driver, it's just because they are restricted, they join mid-season.
Let's make a fantastic point about the demand here with the brand new stock series. An amazing organization able to put it together. And here now with so many racers together in such an organized group, we've been looking to do it for a long time, and we finally got it put together. As we mentioned here, a lot of new interest. PRA is still growing. We were at a point one time, we grew, and we're looking to make that continue. As we now are still in this pre-race practice session, you can call it, as we get everyone situated into the driver group chat and the PlayStation party, and just everyone situated with the starting order, as we should be going green here soon as we now have everyone in. A reminder is 15 laps here at Watkins Glen for the Sportsman Series cars. Shouldn't see a pit, honestly, with tire strategies and fuel tonight with these cars. They should make it, but who knows, if someone really burns their tires up, they might have to make a stop, or with cautions being a chance of coming out as well. We did talk about earlier, our pit roads are closed under yellow flag conditions, so that will make pit choices for the stock series even more interesting. If not tonight, especially for tomorrow night and Thursday night. But one of the many changes and test things we're really doing here with this first season of the stock series, looking to really iron things out to make this the best it can be for the future.
You know, this is what I love about Gran Turismo 7. As we're having Turismo first night taking the reins by himself. We're able to still provide content through this pre-race practice. We can still see and talk about how everybody's racing and things like that. We don't have to just stare at a blank screen. It takes time to get this stuff set up. Got a lot of different moving pieces, parameters, a lot of things are moving at one time, and it takes a lot, especially for somebody like Turismo that this is his first night doing it. But hey, he's out here volunteering his time for PRA. We absolutely love it. AY, I just noticed that the top 3 people are Canadians on the board.
Definitely a valid observation you make there, as we've seen throughout. Wait a minute. An American flag on wired suit. I don't know about that. But as we round the front straight with wired here, as I mentioned earlier, he's definitely going to be one of the main guys in position to take this race, I think. As we see Rum Runner, last week's winner here, putting a pretty strong time of his own. Now, Hufu doing it as well with 1:16.860, that being faster than all the qualifying times. So as these guys really get warmed up, they're just getting faster as the night goes on.
Yeah, I want to go and give some love to the people down at the bottom of the leaderboard here, see what this thing Jay Phillip just got out there on the track. Who's that exiting pit road there? Who's on pit road?
Root Metal is just coming out of pit road himself.
Hey.
Root Metal is also going to be a strong contender for the night. Currently sitting second in the point standings with Yurt in third. I was stand corrected earlier. Yurt did make the final cut. So that does mean there will be 2 teams on the board, I believe, tonight, with Rings of Saturn being Saturn's team, featuring Phil and Nitro, and then Yurt's team being himself and Buzz and Bile, who also made the final cut. But other than that, those are the only 2 teams with multiple drivers represented tonight, with a lot of free agent representation as well.
Yeah, and we got a few drivers that are running solo tonight. I know Outlaw 3197, I think he's on pit road. He's in that 15, that Hooters car. His team is currently leading the championship standings right now, in the franchise standings. So, I mean, he's going to have some weight on his shoulders because, I mean, he makes a start. Guess what? He counts towards his team's franchise standings. So, you know, he knows what's at stake. A lot of these guys, I mean, even down here in the smaller series, they have a huge impact on their team by where they finish, because the way we determine these franchise standings is every person's position counts. So this is what happens. We go through and we do the drivers' championship standings, all right? And then we compile all those together, put it in the spreadsheet, and we sort them by team. And then we just take the average points earned by that team, by each member of that team. So, Sportsman, guess what? You weigh just as much as the Elite Series. I mean, that's something that we wanted to do. We wanted to make every position matter. That might be something that we change going into Season 1, since this is Season 0, going in towards Season 1. But who knows? There's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of feedback from the community and the other franchise owners, and to see which direction we need to take this series in.
Of course, is this inaugural season putting a lot of ideas into practice and seeing how it comes out to make the best possible product both on the track and for the viewers, for everyone to enjoy, as we still have Turismo filing up the lineup. Turismo, as we mentioned, doing a great job, especially this first night, stepping up to be the lead official. Usually that would be B-Dog here's job, but Turismo is the one who offered to say, hey, I will step up for you for the night and give B-Dog a little bit of rest, even though that rest, meaning he's now joining me in the booth, which is something I am happy about. As speak of, we are now on the track as we're about to make our pace lap around, as we finally have the starting order together with Buzz and Bile on the pole, Phil in second, Perry in third, and Wired behind them. Rum Runner, last week's winner, sitting in fifth. Hufu, who put a very fast time at the end of practice, in sixth. Vanilla Bear in seventh. Nitro in eighth. Root Metal, the second place in the driver's standing. He's gonna be ninth. He's pretty much unofficial first, as John couldn't make it, who is our current points leader. And to round out the order, we have a few other drivers, Jay Philla, Racer Chick making her GT7 debut, Outlaw in 12th, Yurt in 13th, and Crazy Alt rounding out the order in 14th.
Now, Turismo had to take control of this. Normally, we preset these lobbies and we're good to go 2x2. But since the lobby has the line switched, he's going to have to get these guys to switch odds on the right, evens on the left, because the game did it the opposite way. So that's why you see these guys single file right now in this pace lap. He's going to make sure everybody is set up in the proper position. And man, when these things are all lined up single file, they look like a beauty.
Couldn't have said it better myself, as we do make the rounds around Watkins, Glen, as we see here the bus stop chicane style complex of turns 5 through 8. as the long sweeping right-hander of turn 9 really going to eat away at tires, especially as we get later into this race. Some people may have a bit more of a struggle through that turn. We're going to see, hopefully they can get through, as you see all these yellow and red rumble strips here at Watkins Glen. Those curbs pretty much determine the track limits. So the white lines on the track don't necessarily determine it. As long as you have 2 tires on the red and yellow, you should be good to go. But very often, as you'll see some drivers running out wide, getting some penalties racked up, as that may be a factor here tonight with the slowdown zone on the back straight after turn 9. In Gran Turismo, after your penalties, you have to serve it through that little stop time barrier there on the back straight. But as we round the front straight with Buzz and Bile and Phil side by side after the long wait to get the order started. Here at Watkins Glen, we are going to be green, green, green here at Watkins Glen as Phil gets the better jump on Bile. Gonna see if he can make the cutoff into turn 1. Bile sticking his nose in there. Phil getting through. Bile in second. A few drivers in the back running wide. That is Wired. Might take a penalty for that. Buzz and Bile falling back to second. Perry still in third as Wired does fall back the order a little bit, but does not take a penalty for that. We have Hufu and Rum Runner side by side onto the straight after turn 4. Let's see who makes the dive into the chicane as we have multiple side by side coming into the corner. Rum Runner makes the lunge. Nitro tries to take advantage. Hufu runs wide a little bit. Nitro gets caught up with him. Wired and Root Metal side by side as Root Metal gets shoved into the wall by Wired. Unfortunate when you go too wide there in the bus stop. There's not always room for both drivers, especially trying to make that tight turn.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see that they were actually trying to go a little bit 3 wide right there through the bus stop. That's not really going to work. It seems like everybody is going to start getting a little equaled out here. You know, we got Buzzing. He fell back a few positions, but I think that was just him getting his feet wet. But Phil, he's up there in first. Second's Perry. I mean, we're already have a lap in the book here.
That's right. As we run up our top 10 outlaws, the first one to take a penalty. Penalties will be a pretty common theme here. Vanilla Bear does take a jump on the inside of Outlaw, taking that 9th spot. Racer Chick up in 8th. Very impressive for Racer Chick, I will mention, as we mentioned, new to GT7, pretty much new to the game entirely, not just coming over from the PRA side of Wreckfest and things, but the entire game of GT7, she's pretty new to it, only picking up the game a few weeks ago, and her first official PRA race, making it into the final cut.
Yeah, we see here Nitro and Wired, they're side by side coming into the S's. Wired kind of muscles his way past Nitro a little bit, but he gets a full second penalty. Don't really know where that happened on track, not really too sure, but he gets a full second penalty, so Nitro's going to be able to easily overtake him right there. Well, I think it's going to register next time by, so
what
he just got it through the S's, I guess.
I could break, yeah, so through the S's, especially if you get a penalty through the S's, cutting the inside a little too quick, that is the one part of the track where the curbs, the yellow and red curbs, are a little bit of a lie. If you hit the inside of the bus stop a little bit too sharp, it might just give you a 1 second or even 1.5 second penalty that will be served on the next lap around by, as you'd be too close to the slowdown zone on that lap.
Oh, looks like the battle for the lead starting to heat up here. As you can see, Perry, he took over that front position from Phil. Buzzing, he's making a move. Rum Runners coming into the inside through the S's. They're going to get all organized, heading into this little short chute before the bus stop. Top 4 seems to check out. Hufu in 5th, waiting for one of these guys to mess up. But right now, it's a top 4 accordion.
That's right, we're going to see Rum Runner trying to make the lunge inside yet again. Made it work on one of the first few laps. Going to make it work on Buzz and File as he moves up to second. Looking to get the back-to-back run of wins here as he's now on the tail of Perry. Perry making the jump up to the front. B-Dog's driver to watch for the night as Rum Runner's right on his tail. Looking for a repeat here from last week at Sardinia as he puts down a purple second sector into turn 10. And rounding out into the last turn, turn 11, onto the front straight. Let's see, he's going to try to size up a better run on Perry, which he will do, as Bile does have the slip behind him to make a run possibly. Rum Runner does set the fastest lap of 1:17.092. Not making the jump into turn 1. Turn 1, another overtake potential, but if you run wide, running wide at turn 1 is really easy to do, and yet again to rack up a penalty later on. We will check back with the further back fight really quick with Outlaw, Vanilla Bear, and Yurt with his 8th, 9th, 10th. They're kind of on each other's tails. Rum Runner, not close enough to Perry to make the move. He's going to defend the inside from Buzz and Bile, knowing what that inside move can do. Buzz and Bile's line is compromised a little bit, as he's going to have to try to stay on track, maybe giving Phil a good run into turn 9 to get a good run onto the back straight on Buzz and Bile. Maybe going to look for a move into turn 10.
Yeah, we see Rum, he's slowly running down Perry right there. Perry, he must have heard me say something before the race, saying, hey, hey, who's going to step up for the Fords? All right, who's going to step up for the Fords? Perry's out here. He's making a strong running for the Fords right now. We got the top 2 drivers, free agents. These guys are trying to make a statement, not only for their manufacturer, but for their personal brand as well. As you see Phil, he's going to try to jump in on the inside of Buzzin', and that's another Chevy-Ford battle. Seems like Chevy and Ford is duking it out everywhere on this track.
As Phil's going to get it done in turn 1, Bile losing the back end a little bit. Hufu now back into this fight with the fight for 3rd and 4th heating up. Hufu now getting into the mix after a lot of clean air for himself. Rum Runner probably not close enough to make the jump on Perry, but he's made the jump into turn 5 a few times already tonight. Not going to be close enough to get it done here, but that slip's going to give him yet another purple first sector, possibly looking to be the first driver in the main race to hit a sub 117.
Yes, I just want to go down the list here, and as this battle for first is starting to heat up, look at Racer Chick right there. You know, we said in the pre-race, we talked about the struggles for Toyota in the Sportsman series. Maybe Racer Chick is the lift that they needed. Coming in here week number 1, she is the lead running Toyota right now. I want to see where the other Toyotas are at. Vanilla, let's see, Vanessa's a Ford. I know Outlaw's a Chevy, Yurt's a Chevy.
Jay making a move on Yurt. Ford Chevy battle. Ambitious into turn 10, gonna get it done though. Probably the last overtaking spot on the track being turn 10. Making a lunge there, that might be a spot of contention later on into the race. As we see our Toyotas at the back struggling a lot. I believe they got into a little bit of a mix-up early on. I believe lap 4 or 5 that we didn't catch, a little bit of a beaten banging thing. Not sure if a tally was called for it or not. Reminder to everyone, our caution system runs on 2 tallies, so in a wreck, each car is tallied, and for it to count, multiple cars have to be involved. As we see here, Wired's day just falling and continuing to fall. I think I might have jinxed Wired talking about trying to get out of his slump. Starting in 4th, has the fastest lap of the race with an outstanding 1:16.5, having to do everything he can to fight his way back up the order, but this yet another half-second penalty is not going to help, sitting back in a pretty far 13th.
Yeah, I just want to look through the field. Let's scroll through the field, see if there's any battles. As you can see, Rum, he eventually did get around Perry. Let's scroll through the field. I want to give some love to the other people here.
Really quick, I am thinking Perry might make a move here as Rum Runner's going to defend the inside. Let's see what Perry does. Is he going to make the jump here? Not in the... Well, Rum Runner leaves the gap open, surprisingly. And Perry's going to get it done in turn 1. But Rum Runner might make a run on that back straight as now he will check through the order. Phil in 3rd, Hufu in 4th, getting past Bile, but Bile still on his tail. The pole sitter of the race, Buzz Bile, looking to make the run into turn 5 himself. On to Hufu. We'll see if he can get it done, and we'll check further into the order. Who else can maybe get a move done into turn 5? This move into the chicane looking really potent for a lot of guys here. Nitro in 6th pretty comfortably. Racer Chick still in 7th with a pretty big gap behind to the rest. Outlaw J Phil over the battle here for 8th.
A little bit of contact right there. Outlaw seems to be alright. There's going to be a pretty big battle right there as Vanilla's going to start entering his way into the picture. Outlaw's doing a great job holding off the 9th and 10th place of Jay and Vanilla. Let's see what that top 5's doing here. I want to look into that. It seems like the battle right there is with 8th, 9th, and 10th. I think that, you know, looking at the mini map, I feel like the top 5 are pretty close up to each other.
See, Racer Chick making ground on Nitro for that 6th spot. As indeed, you are right. Perry takes a penalty of running wide. I believe at turn 10 he would have run wide as Rum Runner takes advantage into the lead as Phil, Hufu, and Bile are right back in this fight again as the top 5 have really closed the gap between each other.
I want to do something. I want to see the tire wear here in the fuel. If you could pull that up for me, I want to see exactly what each driver is on. So the tires don't seem to be wearing too bad.
As we get Hufu into the inside wall. Not enough space there. Gets bumped in. That'll definitely be a tally. Unsafe entry.
Pulls right back in front of the traffic.
But Racer Chick stays alive. But Racer Chick is the one who stays alive there. We get a good view now of Outlaw getting the move done on Jay Phila into turn 5 through the bus stop. And Outlaw taking the lead out of this group of 3. Hufu falling back to 10th now with the rest of the Canadians. Besides Phil. Actually, no, Phil and Perry up top.
I don't think Racer Chick got too much damage off of that. I want to see if there is going to be a caution from that. Caution cutoff will be at lap number 12. See, looks like we're still green, so that's definitely our first tally then.
As Perry did have to serve his penalty, so now he falls back to the back of this group of 4 now, as we saw Hufu, the 5th guy, fall back out of the order. As we do see, as I mentioned, most of these guys running racing softs with fuel and tires not really being a factor in this race with such short distance.
Yeah, normally in these races you'll see that one driver that just checks out on the field, and there really hasn't been that yet. I know Rum Runner's getting a little bit of a lead there, but I mean, he's not checked out. We've been having great battles with the top 5. Hufu unfortunately got to that accident, so and I know he's probably praying for a caution. As you look right there in Buzzin's mirror, it is full of Perry. Perry, he served that penalty. Hey, he was up there in the front lead. He just put down a purple sector right there. Coming around these last 2 corners, Buzzin doesn't give too much of the room. I mean, we see that defensive, run the guy tight to the corner, make them check up. Buzzin, that is defensive driving to a T right there. I mean, we're looking here, top 4 really all spaced out. It seems like as soon as one driver gets away, the second place driver just carries everybody else back up to him.
Buzzin Bob catching a bit of that grass in turn 1 as he's going to lose the back end. He's going to run wide. Lucky for him saving the car. What a great save for Bile, not bringing out the caution, falling further back into the order. But he's going to fall back to 4th as Perry takes a bit of a gap now for 3rd. Phil trying to run down Rum Runner, say that 10 times fast, as Rum Runner trying to check out for the pack like he did last week, but so far not getting the chance to just yet, but holding a pretty comfortable lead now. But Phil still running him down. Rum Runner is setting the purple sectors with possibly a fast lap on the horizon. These 2 guys both taking a gap from the rest of the pack, but Phil's not letting Rum Runner go, as we're going to take a look back in the pack now. Nitro in 5th. Racer Chick really closing that gap for 5th on Nitro, possibly looking to make a move in the next few laps before the end of the race. Vanilla Bear in 7th. With a huge gap to Racer Chick. It's pretty much a top 6 and then the rest. As we have Vanilla Bear, Jay Phila, Hufu trying to make his way slowly back up. Yurt in 10th trying to hold off Wired, as Wired's trying to basically play recovery, whatever he can for his race after the very unfortunate start for him. He's running wide on turn 1 and never really being able to recover. Root Metal sitting behind Wired, but he's sitting on a 1-second penalty. Looks like Wired's going to make it side by side in the chute through turns 3 and 4, turns 2, 3, and 4. As he's going to get done on Yurt. Root Metal's get the run around Yurt as well, but he's going to have to serve that penalty, so that position's probably going to switch back around. Now looking for 7th and 8th. Jay Phillip now being the one to look for a move into turn 5. Not going to get it done there, but Vanilla going in a bit too hard into the turn. Playing really great defense, though, as he's going to hold off Jay Phillip even despite overshooting the turn, compromising his line. As we look forward ahead now, Racer Chick has closed the gap on Nitro, looking to make that overtake possibly here within the next lap here at Watkins Glen, as Racer Chick, as we mentioned before, first week in the PRA GT7 series.
Yeah, she's really coming on strong here. She's just really putting the pressure on Nitro for that top 5 spot right there. I want to give praise to Jay Filler right there, as we saw that battle going on in the bus stop. He could have easily ran over Vanilla right there, but, he sacrificed his racing line, and he displayed excellent racecraft right there in order to be able to get around him without just running through him. But the battle, it's starting to pick up here. Nitro knows the pressure is on. A purple sector right there from Racer Chick, so she's living up to her name right now.
Indeed she is, as with the bus stop, Nitro gets through a little bit smoother than Racer Chick, trying to get a little bit of a gap started again. As we do have someone around, it is Vanilla Bear in bus stop. As we now have Root Metal trying to make his way around Yurt for that 10th spot. Wired took a gap out of them. He's now going to try to join the J-Phil and Hufu fight for 7th and 8th. Root Metal making the overtake on Yurt for 10th. Outlaw taking a penalty here in 12th. Vanilla Bear falling back to 13th after that wreck, as there will be no more cautions. Green flag running to the end, as we're going to take a look mainly at this front race with Phil trying to run down Rum Runner. Rum Runner took away with ease last week, really checked out from the field. He's not getting the chance to do that this week. Let's see how he can finish off a race under pressure, as Phil's going to get a great slip here on the straights between 4 and 5, as he's going to get a much better run into the bus stop as well, really reeling Rum Runner in.
It's going to come down to this. The battle right there was Rum and Phil. Everybody else is racing for scraps. This is where we need to be right here between Rum and Phil. It's Chevy versus Ford, the only 2 drivers to have win so far this season. They're 1-1. They're going to try to settle this tiebreaker right here. If I'm anybody, I want to be Phil right now. I want to be able to use Rum Runner as wow, what a good save right there. Normally they're going into the wall, but hey, we got 1 lap to go here. It's time. These boys better tighten up their belts.
As we are under white flag now, Phil is going to try to make this last push on Rum Runner, trying to prove the oval win was not just a fluke, and he is one of the premier drivers to watch out for Ford and all drivers here in the Sportsman and Stock Series as a whole, looking to make his run back to the top of the championship standings. But Rum Runner is the driver to get past, winner of last week's race at the Sardinia Road Course. Only a few turns left to get it done. Turn 5. It's probably not going to happen, but he's going to set Rum Runner up as Rum Runner goes defensive. Not going to let Phil get through. Rum Runner gets a pretty good run into turn 9. Probably the last turn to get it done will be turn 10. Phil will probably have to make a lunge, but I don't think he has the gap to do it. Rum Runner making enough space to keep himself safe from a lunge into turn 10, assuming he doesn't overshoot here.
Yeah, coming out of the last couple corners there, Rum taking the conservative line. Phil's going to give it one last chance. Don't think it's going to happen.
As Phil just falls a little bit short, but Rum Runner will go back-to-back here as he takes the win here at Watkins Glen. Phil coming in second. Perry holding on to third. Buzz and Bile in fourth. Will still hold on to fourth despite the penalty as Nitro comes in fifth. Racer Chick a very close sixth, trying to make that a fight. Just didn't happen. Jay Phillip holding on from Wired in seventh. Wired, after a rough start, making his way back up to 8. Couldn't get it done any further, but does get the fastest lap of the race, the 1:16.5. Root Metal in 9th, Yurt in 10th, Outlaw in 11th, and Fufu in 12th, with Vanilla Bear and Crazy Alt rounding out the field in 13th and 14th.
Wow. I mean, we see Rum. Rum put it down on the table. Had a good chance to lose it, but he didn't. Phil Perry buzzing. I mean, if Hufu was still up there and he didn't crash right there, I feel like that would have been a heck of a battle. But I mean, it comes down to it. Who's going to nut up? You know, I mean, it's time to buckle down and see what you're about. And Rum, I cannot wait to get him in the booth. I'm going to go ahead and add Rum into the booth, and we got to talk to him.
Should already be in here.
I think he left after last week.
Gotcha. But even still, that race finish there, very, very exciting. As I'd say, both drivers had something to prove there after 2 race wins, 1 for each. But you could take some asterisks from both races with Phil's being at the Daytona Oval. Super Speedway racing is very different from the road course racing. And with Rum, in the Sardinia race, he didn't really face much pressure, but throughout the entire race, really, checking out very early and nothing really stopping him in the way of that. But this time, he had to face some pressure from Phil, who had something to prove, trying to win another race, this time on a road course. Both drivers really impressing, I would say, for sure.
So let's look here at the standings here. Let's see if there's a few things that we can talk about. If you can go ahead and pull those on up.
Let's see. There we go.
Let's see. I mean, fastest lap there is Wired. He had the fastest lap by a lot. So I mean, if he wouldn't have had his early unfortunate mishaps that he tends to have, he probably would have been up there. But hey, Rum, familiar sight, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, take me through like that last 5 laps. Like, what was going on when it was a 5-way battle for the lead? Catch your breath, by the way.
Yeah, that was Frank had a run on me there at the end. Kind of had me nervous at the end. I don't know, just paced myself and made sure I laid back, got a run in the right areas to the bus stop, make an easy pass through there. You know, once you get the inside to somebody, it's pretty easy to get that corner. Other than that, I was just trying to manage a gap and taking it easy. I kind of messed myself up and let them get back into it.
Phil really laying down the pressure there. Compared to last week at Sardinia, you really got the chance to check out. This time you didn't have the chance to do that. How is that a different experience from last week to this week? Last week you didn't really see anyone behind you, and this week you had Phil right on your back bumper with himself winning that first race. Really have something to prove of his own, right?
Definitely a little tougher, navigating through the traffic and that track's tight, so avoiding the penalties on the runoffs is key to putting down good laps and staying up front. And once you get up there, staying in the draft behind somebody kind of helps maintain that speed. So just bided my time and took advantage of when I had the openings to get around them.
And I think you did a great job, as that was such a tight fight. You were talking about getting the best laps down. I'll just point this out as I observe it now. B-Dog, if you're still on my screen, take a look here. As you look at the top 2 between Rum Runner and Phil, we take a look at their best laps. And, well, Rum Runner's best time was a 1:16.859. And Phil's best time of the race, also a 1:16.859.
Oh, wow.
So very even fight between you two, but you're the one who got it done. So congratulations to you, Rum, for holding on and getting your second win here, back-to-back here in the Sportsman Series.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank PRA for putting on this series and this event, giving us a chance to race against other great competitors and show what we got.
Of course. B-Dog, do you have any closing thoughts of your own?
No closing thoughts for me, man. You held it down, and we'll have to wait and see if you're going to be the points leader. I think there's a good chance that you might be, but regardless if you're the points leader or not, you're going to be a force to mess with. I think you made your statement loud and clear so far. Hey, this guy's still a free agent. Somebody pick this man up before my team picks him up. Team Chevy, man.
Like I said last week, on to the next circuit, and we'll see if we can't put it on them there too.
On to the next, indeed, as you're going to be looking to follow back for a three-peat possibly next week. Excited to see you there, and I know you're talking last week, hoping to see us in the booth again while you're here. I'd hope to see you in the booth again next week, honestly. If you could keep this run going, that would be very exciting to see.
Yeah, keep my chair warm. Hopefully I can see you again.
Of course, as we're going to close out here at Watkins Glen and the Sportsman Series as part of the PRA Stock Series here on the PRA Network. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Challenger Series, same time as tonight, 8 Eastern, with 25 laps for the Challenger Series. And then Thursday night, yet again, 8 Eastern, will be 40 laps. All races will be at the Watkins Glen Short Circuit. And be sure to check in for the Sportsman Series next week, as the Sportsman Series are going to take a little bit of their own trip. 20 laps at the Tsukuba Circuit next Tuesday night. So for everyone tuning in, be sure to join us there. Thank you, Rum Runner, for joining us in the booth, and congratulations on the win. Thank you, B-Dog, for joining me into the booth. And thank you, everyone, joining to watch the race tonight. I'm 81, your host of the Sportsman Series, and hope to see you all next week. Goodbye.